winning team look like? Where you're going to learn valuable insights on how to help you build a high-performing childcare team and set your center up for success. Welcome, welcome. My name is Danielle Benedict, and I am in enterprise development here at Inspire Care 360. I support the needs of our early childhood educators. I'm joining you from sunny Land O'Lakes, Florida, just north of Tampa. So if you are popping on, could you drop your name and where you're attending from in our chat box? Welcome. Oh, ooh, we've got Jacksonville. Good. You're getting some warm weather. Oh, in North Carolina, and Donna from New Jersey, Brittany from Punta Gorda, Florida. We've got another Florida friend on here, Julie from Utah, Casey from Michigan, and Lisa, Texas. Oh, I'm trying to read them all. They're so fast. Yes. Keep joining. Welcome. Stacy from Montana, Alexa from Texas. Welcome. As you're joining, if you're just popping on, please introduce yourself and tell us where you're joining from. Again, I'm coming at you from north of Tampa in Land O'Lakes, Florida. It's been a little chilly, but at least we've got some sun here. Let's see. Welcome, Amber from Houston, Texas, and Annie from Wisconsin, Jay from New Jersey, Jessica from New Jersey, Miracle. Hi, Miracle. We just talked the other day. Annie from Wisconsin. Welcome. Rebecca from Pennsylvania. Welcome. If you're popping on, we've got quite a few coming on. If I didn't get to you, welcome. If you're just now joining us, please add your name and where you're joining us into the chat box. I'm super excited again. We are going to be discussing what does a winning team look like. You're going to be learning valuable insights on how to help build high-performing childcare teams and how to set your center up for success. Again, my name is Danielle Benedict. I am going to be emceeing today. I am in business development here at Inspire Care 360. I work to support the needs of early childhood educators, directors, and owners so they can offer the best learning environments possible. So in the last 17 years, I've had lots of roles in education, but the one I love the most is advocating and caring for those who are caring for our children. So my email is listed there on the side. So always feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about today's webinar or any future webinars or anything about what Inspire Care 360 has to offer. I would love to share that with you. Thank you, Sarah, for dropping that in there. So we are going to be, I just want to point out some things. Let us know again where you're joining from, but we do have a chat box here down at the bottom of your screen, and we have a Q&A box. So throughout the webinar, you're welcome to make comments in the chat box, but if you have a question that you would like us to see, we are going to be monitoring those live. So please use the Q&A box for your questions if you'll drop them on in there. And today's agenda. Our agenda today consists of just a few housekeeping items. We're going to look at Inspire Care 360's very own AI solution, Ask Reggie, as well as our group purchasing option, which saves our ECE childcare centers and owners a considerable amount of money on everyday purchases. And then we're going to meet our wonderful guests, followed by discussion. And we also have a special offer if you are attending today. So that's going to get dropped here in the chat box. We will be offering $30 gift cards. So you'll learn about that as we move on. Just a reminder, if you are seeking continuing education units for attending this webinar, you're going to use this link. So Sarah, if you don't mind dropping the link in the chat box, we'll just take a moment to do that. And again, if you're just now joining us, please take a moment to add your name and what state you're joining us from. And there's that link. You're going to follow the link right into your browser. If you have any questions, please DM if you're having any issues with that link. Welcome. Oh, and at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce to you our amazing host, Tony D'Agostino. Not only does he own and operate 4 ECE schools of his own, but he is the founder and CEO here at Inspire Care 360, as well as an inspirational leader and a mentor. Welcome, Tony.
Well, thank you very much, Danielle. You're way, way too generous, but thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. And Danielle, thanks for getting everybody on board on the call. And we're thankful for everybody being here. So I'll take the baton from you from now on. So thanks. And Danielle will be in the background along with Sarah, who heads our marketing, and they will be there to answer any of the questions that you may have. So today we're going to jump right on in with a few things. First, a few housekeeping items before we get to Aleta. And first thing is we're going to talk a little bit about Ask Reggie. Some of you may have heard about this. This is something we've pioneered now over the past year and a half. This is a AI solution that was built specifically for the child care industry. First off is you get access to all of your state regulations, all 50 states, plus CACFP regulations to ask and query any question on demand that you have from that, saving just an absolute ton of time. Unlimited inquiry, so you can create any kind of questions. It can write letters for you. It can create trainings for you, job aids. The thing that it is not doing, it's very much like a Chat GPT or a Claude or a Gronk or one of those other ones. But what it is not doing, it's not going to the general internet. It is going directly to those state or federal regulations. However, we also have implemented a new focus with it, and that is that it also can manage your documents. So many companies want their staff to have access to their SOPs, to their handbooks and the like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give a real quick share on that. Stop from this one for 1 second and give you a look at what Ask Reggie looks like. So I'm going to look to the side here if it looks like I'm looking sideways. And you'll see this is, by the way, our brand new member hub. Over here, you'll have different icons of the different services that we offer from our university, which is now ECE University. We moved from Inspire University to ECE University with over 200 plus professional development and teacher courses, HR services, along with our healthcare solutions, our exit interviews, our star rating solutions with IC360 Rep, and our food purchasing, which we'll talk more about in a second. But down here, you'll see Ask Reggie. You can also go to just askreggie.ai, and you are able to sign up at no charge today as a beta member. So let me do this. I know that with a little pop-up here, I have to reshare again. But just to show you over here, we have a Q&A section once you would sign in, and you have different states in here. So you have all 50 states here that you can choose your state from. For instance, I have schools still in New York, so I choose New York, and they have 5 different type of regulations. You see group family care here and select documents. So if I select a document here and put in, it has the group family care, and let's say I say, can I put a child to sleep in a bouncy seat? And I think most of us who have schools understand what that answer probably would be. But what this is doing is it's looking at the direct regulations, giving you the specifics directly around that and producing answers that are very usable right away. So with that, you will see that we pull the answers directly from the state regs. And, right here, according to New York State rules, you are not permitted to do this. The key points cannot be done here, cannot be done here, cannot be done here. And then here's reference. It'll actually bring you directly to the pages that say where you cannot do these things or how a child can do these things. So you see exactly in your own state regs. So that's a very cool element about how Ask Reggie works. The second part that we're introducing to Ask Reggie, which is super powerful, is the ability for you to have your own uploaded documents in here. You could have at the executive level, the office level for your back office, and the public level for all your teachers or the like. But for instance, you might have at the executive level certain type of specific documents for that group, office level, different ones, including like your standard operating procedures, or you could have, for everybody. So for instance, you would have your handbook here, and then you could put in here and it moves down here, and you can then ask questions directly about your handbook. So if you want to learn more about Ask Reggie right now for the regulations piece of it, There is no charge. We are doing beta testing. We have well over 600 people nationwide who are beta testing on that. We'd love to have you on board at askreggie.ai, and Sarah will also put that in the link for you. And we're going to go back to our presentation that we have at hand. So bear with me a moment. All right, we are back and we will continue on. We did talk about also our group purchasing. Our group purchasing really is a second to none. Group purchasing is people have said, wow, this group purchasing alone has paid for our entire subscription with Inspire Care 360. Well, we believe that all the other services really do pay for themselves. But when we are able to bring food, or school supplies or office supplies discounted up towards 50% with the highest quality amounts, and also small drop-off amounts as part of our subscription, it is something you very well may want to learn about, of the kind of value that we can offer. If you're cooking, or even if you cater, you still likely buy a lot of food and snacks like I do in one of my schools. So we're going to continue on, but wanted to give you a sense of exactly what we are doing with our food purchasing program. All right, that everybody on here could take advantage of if you subscribe to Inspire Care 360. And let's move forward. So now I'd like to welcome to the stage Aleta Mechtel. And Aleta, it's a real pleasure to have you on board. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am doing absolutely wonderful. Lita has 25 plus years in the ECE childcare world. You could see here, she's a former kindergarten teacher and director and owner, and she recently, over the past couple of years, had a succession. So congratulations. I think that's what a lot of us are eventually looking for. How did you feel about that succession?
It was good. I think I was ready to make a bigger impact at a more broad area of coaching and leading others to success, and really focusing on my substitute teacher placement company, and just making sure that everyone in my area is fully staffed, and helping other people across the nation open their own substitute teacher placement companies so we can tackle this staffing crisis as a whole.
And if you haven't heard, Leah also has pioneered a really interesting concept around substitute teaching programs called Teachers for Tomorrow. We have it down on here, and we'll give you some information at the very end of her presentation. So if you want to learn more about it, it is a really keen way of fulfilling one of the toughest challenges we all have, and that's recruiting and retention. But not only that, you can actually support that whole program throughout your community. So she could tell us a little bit about that in a little bit. I noticed some of this is running off the page, but I'm sure we'll fix some of that for you. And she's been business coaching. And tell us, as we get into this, just a little bit more about your business coaching before you start. I hand the baton over to you.
Yeah, so I would never be where I am today without having a coach or a leader or a support system at the top. And as I've grown and made mistakes, I have created a bunch of training opportunities for not only childcare centers, but I work with quite a few other small businesses every month to make sure that all the best business practices are going in the right direction, and hopefully preventing some of the mistakes I've made over the years, and giving enough support and nuggets to operate a well-oiled operation.
Fantastic. Wonderful. And we're so glad to have you. So with that said, as I'm running the slides here, just let me know when you would want to move forward. But
Sure.
here's about today's discussion. So I hand it over to you.
All right, I'm so excited. Staffing is one of my most favorite things to talk about. My other area, of course, is marketing. That's one of my top areas as well. But today we're just going to be talking about understanding the core characteristics of winning teams in your childcare setting. We're going to talk a little bit about some techniques for leadership so you can enhance the morale of your company, and implementing practical strategies for hiring, recruiting, hiring, developing your team. And the most important thing, I think, and people don't really plan for is retention. And so we're going to talk a little bit about all of those areas. So in your leadership team, when you are hiring and you are running your programs, what you really need to make sure is that you have a vision and a mission statement, and it needs to be clear. As long have a vision statement or a mission statement or any of core values that are posted or announced in your handbooks all over your childcare center, I really want you to set a goal for yourself this year to define and communicate whatever it is that you have found, some clarity with your vision and your mission, okay? Because that is why people will be coming to you, and that is going to speak volumes of what you, how you run your company. And then your day-to-day operations will be revolved all along with your core values, and your long-term goals will be set based off your core values. You will hire according to your core values, you will fire, you will onboard, you will ask certain questions, and we'll go into that later. But the first thing really is, your vision and mission. If you need any help in this area, I run strategy planning days, and I can help you. Even if you just send me an email, I can help you get some clarity in this area.
So, Aleta, could I
Communication,
ask you a
yeah,
question?
sure. Yep.
Just for those who, they've heard these words before, vision, they've heard mission. Could you define the difference for the audience? What is a vision statement as to really what is a mission statement?
Sure. A vision statement is why you're running your company. So what problems are you solving? What are you doing? And your mission is for who you're doing it for what you're doing it, and how you're doing it. So, the difference of a Montessori versus a regular preschool, small mom and pops versus a chain. Who are your customers? Who are your teachers that you're looking for? What are you doing? Are you running Montessori? Are you running, maybe it's religious based? And then your why. Why are you doing that? So that's your mission. And then your core values are basically a set of 3 to 5 principles that you run your company off of, that is so clear that no matter what, people know what you're doing and how you're doing it based on those words.
Fantastic. Thank you for helping clear that up for some of us.
Yeah, absolutely. So effective communication, I feel like, especially in the last 3 to 5 years of childcare, we're all kind of playing whack-a-mole, and we're just filling in classrooms, trying to get our schools filled, but we can't fill our schools because we don't have enough teachers. So we want to make sure that, communication is top the line. So how are you providing open lines of communication between owners and your leadership team, between leadership team and all of your employees? So think about what that plan is, how you're implementing regular team meetings and one-on-ones. Are you having consistent team meetings? Do they know what's expected of them? I think so many of us get so busy, and I hear a lot of directors say, I can't expect my team to stay after work and for a team meeting. They worked so hard, they're working too long of hours. But you guys, if you are all not on the same communication path, your school is going to not be operating at its highest level. So please make sure that you are having consistent meetings, and they know what the agenda is. They have gotten the agenda ahead of time, so they can already be thinking about what it is they want to ask you or talk about if they have any questions. And then, is there an open door policy? Do your leaders let your employees know when it's okay to come into their office and ask questions? That is another thing. Our directors have so much on our plate right now, and owners. And if you're trying to do all these jobs and fill in the classrooms, and the teachers are constantly asking you questions, maybe you narrow it down to a time frame where you can have them sign up in front of your office door at 15-minute increments. You're giving them an opportunity to let them know that, hey, I'm available every single day at this time, or today at this time. Sign up if you need to meet with me. I think giving the ownership to your team for when they can talk to you will actually reduce the amount of times that they want to come and talk to you, and it will keep you your productivity levels up. I want to talk a little bit about, okay, go ahead. Sorry, Tony.
No problem. I was just going to
Oh,
ask you,
yeah.
I think there's some people, as we've experienced from, running our own schools and what have you. Some people are very active and giving you their opinion, communicating,
Mhm.
signing up, but
Yep.
then there's those few people who just you don't hear from. What kind of things have you done to really elicit communication from that part of the audience of your school who really don't proactively come to you?
Yeah, so those are the ones that get forgotten because they're doing their job, they're showing up every day. But what I would highly recommend is you make a list of every one of your team members. And as a director, I would set a certain amount. If you had 25 teachers, let's just say, I would create a chart and say that you need to have us eyeball to eyeball chat with them one time a month. Specifically, it can be 5 minutes, can be 15 minutes, whatever it is, but you are doing 5 a week. So here's the 5 I'm going to do this week, here's the 5 I'm going to do the following week, the following. That means you've gotten all of your employees taken care of. If you are an owner and you are needing to meet with your leadership team, I would have weekly meetings, 1.5 hour with the entire team. I had a 15-minute daily huddle, and then just what happened yesterday. Are you stuck today? Is there anything I can help you with? Let's celebrate, move forward. Those communication pieces are going to be strengthening your relationship with them. And then it's showing your leadership team really how to have effective communication with their team below them.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I'll try not to interrupt you as much, but
That's okay. I just have so much to cover. I'm trying to go fast.
there you go.
Open book versus closed book. So those of you that are owners and directors, we need to make sure that also if you're an owner and you're working on your business and you have directors in place, I would highly recommend that you share some numbers with them. Now, that scares some people, and a lot of people are like, I'm not going to share numbers. But you guys, it's so important to give them a scorecard, to give them an opportunity to know what is happening in the company. And if they don't know what your goals are as at the top, if people don't know what you're aiming for, or enrollment numbers or staff numbers, then it's like watching a ball game. That terrible Vikings game last night, I could have just screamed so loud at that TV. Those of you guys that saw it, I'm from Minnesota, obviously. So, however, it's like watching a ball game with no score. And we're just sitting there and you're telling your team, it would be the coach saying, we don't know how much time is left. We don't know what the score is on the scoreboard, but just keep playing the game. So when you open some of your book to your employees, your teachers or your directors, it gives them a little bit more opportunity to hit some numbers that you've never really thought of sharing with them. Again, you don't need to open everything, but teach them how to budget, teach them what you're looking at, teach them the why. When you have a closed book, they have no scoreboard. They don't know how much time is left. They don't know how many children do enroll. They don't know what the turnover rates are. They don't know how much tuition that they need to be bringing in, or what percent of salaries they need to be at. And then the teachers are so busy in their classroom with their children. sharing your goals with the teachers. Hey, we've got a half full preschool room. Is there anyone that knows any families that have preschool age children? You know, the infant room and toddler rooms probably don't even have a clue what the numbers are like in the preschool room. So telling everybody and getting everybody on the same page with your numbers is very, very helpful in this area. And then I want to talk a little bit about empowerment and delegation. So many of us are doing everything and trying to do everything on our own. And we go back to the whole scenario of, well, it's just easier for me to do it. I know how to do it. Well, I'm here to say that I want you to encourage your leadership team and your teachers to make decisions, to come to you with solutions, right? So you're not always having to do anything. And the more that they're coming to you and the more you're answering their questions, the more time they're taking. So your productivity level is done. So instead of always answering them with the the questions they have, turn it around. Well, how would you handle that? What would you do? How would you make that decision? And then if they come to you, they can't come to you with a problem until they can say, I looked in the employee handbook. I looked over here. It wasn't in that process. I looked everywhere I could, but here's what I'm going to ask you. And then here's what I think we can do to solve that problem. They should be coming to you with 2 solutions to every problem that they ask you. And they have already looked everywhere in their power they could, all the resources to see if they can solve the problem on their own. If they can't, then they should be bringing you opportunities and encourage that. Talk to your team and say, I don't always have to be the one that answers the problems around here. If there's a challenge, let's see what you can do to figure it out. They're going to make mistakes, and I want you to be forgiving with that. They're not going to take your company down, but just make sure that they know, hey, how do you think that turned out? And if they say, I'm not sure I would do that like that again, what are you going to do different next time? So encourage that decision making at every single level. Your cooks, your drivers, your janitorial, your aides, your teachers, your assistants. Delegate responsibility, because I don't like doing a lot of things. I have to do them to keep the company going, but I know there are other people in my company that love doing the things I hate. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give it to those people first. I don't want to do it. I absolutely don't want to do it. And then I put it on the back burner, and then sometimes it doesn't get done. So who can you delegate responsibilities to help make them feel like they're a leader? They can be a leader in the classroom. They can be a leader on your team. They can be a leader anywhere. But what are you doing to encourage like a team decision-making, team responsibilities, getting stuff done? Okay. And then continuous learning. This is an area where I think some people may fall short, and it's okay. But the importance of investing in professional development speaks volumes. And there are so many schools that miss this opportunity. And some schools even say to me, well, my teachers leave quick anyway, so I'm not going to pour my money into them. Well, I'm here to tell you that your leadership team and your teachers, if you don't give them bright, shiny new tools for their tool belt, they're going to find it somewhere else, someone that will. And so when they come to you, they may have some tools in their tool belt. Some may be rusty, some may be missing. But it's up to you as an environment and an employer and a leader to make sure that you have enough budgeted for professional development. It is very important. Do not miss that. And yourself as well. As owners, invest in yourself. You owe it to yourself to know the best business products, the best opportunities, the best way to run your company. And it doesn't always have to be childcare, you guys. I go to childcare conferences, but I have so many business conferences that I attend outside the childcare space that bring new, fresh ideas to me so I can bring it to you. But you can do the same thing. And your leadership team, make sure they get the communication and the human resources, and maybe it's personal development. Maybe they just need to feel better about themselves so they gain confidence so they can lead a stronger team with good communication, right? So
Yeah.
stay updated with those industry trends and best practices.
Yeah, and obviously for you dovetail into what Inspire Care 360 does with professional development. The
Yeah.
thing we notice in oftentimes with a lot of the research we've done in creating our professional development, Aleta, has been that speed to competency creates significant retention. When people feel
Yes.
like they understand not only their job role, but the bigger elements of why the school runs the way it does, they feel like they belong. They feel like they're part of it. They have no desire to leave. The other thing
Right.
is they are teachers. They're used to educating. They are just wanting sponges. They want to learn more so they can bring more to the children and talk more intelligently to the parents. So I think you're spot on with those kind of things.
Yeah. So when you have a team, you want a high performing team. You are asking for excellence, right? So what you want to happen inside your school is something that if you're pouring into your team can pour into your families. And so the first thing I want anyone to do is make sure that there is trust within the culture. You can be honest with them, there's transparency, there's effective communication. You are having fun with your team, you're promoting team building activities, your meetings aren't dull and boring. You are having different themes every month. Maybe you're putting scratch offs on the bottom of the chairs. Maybe you're having flip flops and smoothie events, whatever it is, think outside the box, go to Pinterest. You don't have to spend a ton of money, but have, someone is likely to have 92% more retention if they have friends at work. So I want you to think about that, build those relationships. Having diverse skill sets. Everybody has a unique brilliance. Everybody has different strengths. Leverage each team member, utilize their strengths, make them feel like they're a part of your team, make them understand that you are going to use that strength of theirs to help run your company. Okay, so you're fostering an inclusive environment that values diversity and values what they say. Don't always say, oh, how am I going to solve this problem? And everybody's like, well, I have an idea and I have an idea. Oh, no, I'm not going to use that. No, I'm not going to. Take their ideas. And if you don't use their ideas, explain why you didn't so they don't feel shafted. Okay. Super important. Tell them the why. And then conflict resolution, implement clear protocols for addressing conflicts. I can't tell you how many times I get on calls with directors or even owners, and they're like, I went to this conference and my directors got in a fight. Well, actually, my directors got in a fight with the teachers, and there was conflict in front of the parents, and I don't know how to address that. And I thought, oh my goodness, let's go back a little bit and talk about what happens. What is the correct protocol when there is a conflict? Like, bring it into an office, bring it into another area. Let's solve the problems outside of the hallway. And there's no arguing. So we also have to go back to the training of effective communication, right? So you have to train your leaders in conflict management techniques, because the last thing you want is arguments to be happening in the front of the school with the families or with each other or other staff, and people are seeing it. And then as an owner, if there is conflict, make sure that you resolve it and don't let it happen, because then your culture is just going to dwindle, because all your A players are seeing that you're putting up with this conflict and not doing anything about it and accepting it while they're working their butt off. And you've got your C players down here that are causing conflict and causing arguments. So make sure that you are addressing it. And then collaboration and accountability. This is really important as well. clear expectations and roles, encourage collaboration while holding team members accountable. A lot of things that I hear across the board is, I'm just going to give a raise to those because it's their annual review, or I'm going to give a raise, or I'm going to give everybody the same bonus. Well, to me, that would be an insult, because if I'm an A player and a B or a C player, I see how they're performing and everybody's getting the same raise and everybody's getting the same bonus, and nobody's holding those other people accountable to get what they should be getting. And those A players should be getting this, and the B and C, or not anything at all. So, does your team know what expectations are to either get a raise or be qualified for a bonus, what their roles are expected? Very, very important. And holding them accountable for everything that's expected on their job description or their tasks that they have to do every single day. So think about that as you're moving into 2025, and what areas in this screen, are you falling short? What areas are you confident in? That's the skills that you need to build with your team this year.
Aleta, before we just move forward, a question about, a few things that you mentioned here, obviously building trust, conflict resolution, skill sets, accountability. Sometimes in our environments, we have that toxic employee. And that toxic employee loves to go against the grain. They love to stir it up. They love to sort of challenge, maybe tell you what you want to hear in front of your face, tell someone else something behind your back. When it comes to things like accountability and or managing the collaboration aspects of these toxic individuals, how do you tend to approach that?
Yeah, so it goes back to your core values. And I build everything around my core values. As a matter of fact, I had to let one of my subs go a couple weeks ago based on something that I saw. And the only thing I needed to do is effective immediately. I need to terminate your position based on our core values. You are not meeting our standards. And she was like, which core value? I brought it up. I gave her the example, and that was it. And then I got unemployment. I filled out the paperwork, and she was denied because truly she signed off on our core values, knowing what the expectations are for her role. And in these areas, it's very clear. She signed off. She understood that she would perform at that level. I terminated her immediately. However, there are some people that you can train. Some people you don't want in. You just, I can't tell you the amount of poison it will have on your team. Yes, it is turnover, but it's not like you're going to go and fire all the people that are performing highly. I mean, you've got the one that maybe you've talked to, maybe you've given a warning. Now, like 2 chances, 2 strikes, and then they've got to be out. You can give a verbal, you can give a written, and then if they continue, it's time. And I would rather build a company on culture or instead of be worried about turnover.
Excellent.
Yeah, hopefully that answered that question.
Yeah.
So then let's look at job descriptions. I talk about this a lot, and those of you that have seen me speak about it, I'm going to always speak about it because job descriptions are they bring so much value to what your company runs by. And a lot of people across the nation, you're not the only one, I'm not the only one. When we opened our company, we may have built these job descriptions. A lot of people just don't revisit them. And I want you to make it a habit of revisiting your job descriptions every single year. You're in a different season of your company every year. Hopefully you're growing, or maybe you're just full capacity and everything is running top notch. That's different than you were the year before. And maybe your job descriptions or your roles have changed within your school. So make sure that you're highlighting your center's mission, the culture, growth opportunities in those job descriptions. Clearly outline the role, responsibility, and expectations. So in these job descriptions, it also should have the tasks that are expected of them. And when you are writing your SOPs, standard operating processes, you start with your job description. So every task in the job description should have an SOP. So that's the easy way of writing SOPs and what's expected of every single job that's in your company. And then when you're building these job roles, think outside the box. You know, a lot of schools have your director, director, your teacher, assistant teacher, aide. But what are some other job roles that you can add to your company that create that ownership and create an amazing environment where people feel like, ooh, there's a leadership position open, and maybe it's the director of outdoor play space. Maybe it's the director of core values. Maybe it's the director of, health and wellness to make sure that everything's, maybe it's the director of licensing, and they put their licensing hat on and they walk around and make sure that everyone is following the licensing. Is there chip paint? Is the carpet fraying? Is all those little dings you get on the licensing? Make sure that someone is looking over all of these things. And then, one thing that I can tell you that's super important to have in a job in a childcare environment is a substitute teacher list and our floats. So I want to quick hit on this. People are making the mistake in childcare centers and hiring floats, and they're calling them substitute teachers. Come in and substitute for me. But I want to tell you there's a very big difference. A float teacher, when you hire, they've got a schedule every single week, and they're floating throughout your classrooms wherever you need them, but they have a schedule, right? You schedule that person coming in every week, and that float abides by that schedule. Having a substitute teacher list that you can call on people and let them know, hey, these spots are available this week, and they get to pick and choose when they want to work, if they can work. That's a sub list, you guys. So don't get those two positions confused. It's very important. You will have more success building a substitute teacher list versus because then they get to pick and choose when they're going to work, and they've got that flexibility, versus hiring your float and consistently schedule them yourselves. Okay.
Awesome.
So go ahead.
We have a question from the audience.
Okay.
They're asking, how can we help continue the culture of our school if an admin is not exhibiting all of our core values, but our owners allow their presence to remain because they are executing tasks? So it sounds like this person may be an administrator in a school of some type, watching how the overall director or main administrator might be implementing things not completely to the core values, but the owner's letting it pass by because the boxes are getting checked.
Yeah. So it's not all about numbers, unfortunately. It's about leadership and communication and culture building. And you've always got that one teacher in your schools that the families love, and she or he will put on a show in front of the families in those little times, or the leadership. And everybody's like, oh, we love that person. But all the employees are like, this is not working. I don't get the support I need. Communication isn't there. Expectations aren't clear. So, I guess as an owner, I don't know what position this person is that is asking this question, but I would definitely give clear expectations, saying, if you can't meet this by this, again, it's not just about numbers, it's about the whole entire picture, relationships, communication, culture. This person, if they can't get it, then they have to go. You may lose families, you may lose teachers because they may ride on that person's, ship. But again, I would rather have a well-oiled operation and a great, strong culture where communication was amazing, the partnerships were strong, there's really great clarity, and you knew how to get those families in to begin with. Let's do it again. And I can guarantee you, stronger business if that person is not in it.
Yeah. And, you know, just to add on to what Aleta's saying, and I think that person is part of the admin team and watching this, sometimes the owner gets managed up to by the director or head administrator. And that means that they're getting one point of view just from them because that might be their main point of contact, but you're watching what's going on with the staff. You're watching what's going on with the director. You're watching what's going on with the owner. First things really is if you're part of the administrative team, you also may want to consider directly addressing this with the director themselves. It's sort of part of the open door policy, right? If you report to her or him, you know, having a conversation and saying, hey, listen, this is something that is troubling me a little bit because I don't know why. And if it's still occurring, is allowing the owner to know, because Aleta is an owner or myself as an owner, sometimes we do have some blind spots that we can't see because our administrative team, you know, sometimes they're good at covering some things up and other times we're good at seeing those things. So it doesn't hurt to sometimes allow the owner to know that there's opportunity and positioning in a very positive way, not a negative way of throwing your director under the bus, but maybe a positive way of where there's opportunity for your business to grow. So back to you, Aleta, because I know you've got a lot to cover.
No worries. Thank you. I agree. Sometimes the communication can be a nightmare in this situation. So do the best you can with open communication with that other leader. And then I want to talk a little bit about effective interviewing techniques. So when we're recruiting, look at all the behaviors that are going in your classrooms and all the things that, or if you're hiring a leader, you know, all the things that are happening in your leadership, anything in the classrooms, if you're hiring for your teachers, but write down some of these behaviors that are happening and ask questions directly related to that. So when I was looking for a marketing manager, I was asking specific questions of all of the holes that were happening in my company. You know, social media engagement, more followers, how would you do this? Like, these are true behavior-based questions that, you know, how would you handle a biting situation in the toddler room that, you know, hasn't, you know, been solved? And you've talked to the parents. How would you talk to the parents? How would you talk to the other team members? How would you set up the classroom for success? You know, what would you do if maybe you have a child that you are looking at and maybe referring because they need some assessment? And, you know, how would you handle if you have seen this and you need to speak with the parents? How would you assess? You know, all these behavior-based questions are going to help you better assess if that candidate is a fit. And then include practical assessments related to challenging scenarios. Maybe it's parent communication, maybe it's team engagement, maybe it is, you know, your leadership is having this problem we just talked about, and you're using that scenario as an interview. How would you handle if? What would you do when? So these are the real life scenarios in your classroom. Just start in your school, start writing them all down so you can interview based on those scenarios. And then your networking, you know, this is something that you should be really strategically thinking about, building those community partnerships. Anywhere your families or the children where you want to serve go, pediatric dentistry, pediatric eye, realtor's office, you know, the realtors that you see the same sign over and over and over in your community, pediatricians, and then we've got hair salons. What's the most popular hair salon? You know, the moms are going to be going there. So I always used one of the moms at my school for my hair back when I owned my centers, and I would send her big bouquet of flowers, and the big card said, you know, everybody at Children of Tomorrow are thinking of you, or wishing you a happy birthday, or just wanted to say hi. because there will be 15 to 20 people sitting in her chair seeing that big, beautiful bouquet of flowers. So how are you leveraging those partnerships, and what are you doing to foster those relationships? Leverage social media and professional networks. You know, if you do partner with these companies, or if you bring them anything, take a picture of them. Take a picture of what their company is. If you use a garden center on an in-house field trip, growing, if anything, you know, tag their company so that it can go to all of their people as well. And then I can't tell you, everybody is like, oh, where can I find employees? Where can I find more families? What can I do? The people that are right in front of you within arm's reach, all of your employees, you guys talk to your employees, give them a referral reward, tell them what you're looking for. And then what about all your families that you have coming to your center? Some directors are like, no way, I am not telling my parents that I need to hire for the toddler room. I'm not going to do it. Let me tell you something. They already know you're short-staffed. It's okay. I would rather have you use your parents and get that referral. And maybe it's their neighbor, maybe it's their babysitter, maybe it's their cousin, niece, nephew, whatever it is. Wouldn't you rather have someone that they trust with their own children come to you? I love that. So do not miss an opportunity of using the people that are within arm reach right at your fingertips. And then onboarding, making sure that you are maximizing your onboarding experience with your employees. Create a welcoming, comprehensive process. Keep it consistent, make them feel amazing. You know, some teachers are really scared to move over. Some leaders have been with the same company for 20 years and they're gonna be coming to you. You've just hired them. What are you gonna do to take that fear, that uneasiness, the anxiety away from that experience when they come to you? And then build a mentor training program. Make sure that these mentors that you're having at your location are really special and take care of this new hire. This will aim for a smoother integration. It will make them feel like they have someone they can go to and they can trust. So if you need help with that, reach out. I've have great mentor programs within my companies. All right, let's talk about retention. Recognition and rewards. Do not worry about spending a ton of money on your team. You know, just have a plan. Have regular recognition, talk about their achievements. Anytime you see really good things, write it down, you guys, so then you can be very specific when you recognize them. I really appreciated you taking the situation with little Johnny and solving that problem and the way you spoke to their parents. Don't just go down, good job, thank you, good job. Like really have an opportunity and a plan of how you are going to let them know that you're recognizing their work. And then, you know, hey, let's talk about your budget. You know, you can offer both monetary and non-monetary rewards. You know, take a little bit of like 5%, 3% of your budget and give them a wow factor. Think outside the box. What are you going to do for your team that is the unexpected? What can they like come back with? Oh my gosh, that really made me feel special. Thank you for thinking of that. Maybe it's a birthday treat. Maybe it's an anniversary treat. Maybe you're sending them off. Maybe you're surprising them with more PTO. Maybe you're grabbing them and you're like, hey, lunch is on me. Let's go off site and have some lunch for the day. It's just have a plan in place so that you know what you can do to recognize your employee. Career path development. Again, do you have the stages of how someone can move up in your company, how they can make more money? What can they do for an advancement? Make sure that that's clear. Everybody in your school and your program should know how they can gain more knowledge, what they can do to move up. Support all the ongoing education and certification opportunities. If your employees come to you and ask if they're interested in learning more, please be supportive and build a program into your retention plan for supporting any of that education. There should be a kickback. You ask them to come back and say, anything you go to, anything you learn, I would love for you to come and teach everyone else. So I'm going to have you speak at the next meeting, what you've learned and how you're going to apply it in your classroom. Work-life balance. You guys, right now, mental health in the world is really crazy. So let's encourage flexible scheduling, self-care, maybe, a mental health day. What are you doing to ensure your team is at its highest capabilities and support the wellness? Are you offering, maybe you've got some moms in your school or dads at your school that can help run a wellness program, or they can be a resource for your team. Reach out, ask the community what they can be able to, what are they able to give to your team that can help them be stronger for themselves so they can be stronger for you as a company. And then employee feedback and engagement. Again, communication is the #1 priority. Please conduct regular check-ins, gather the feedback. Sometimes it's feedback, you don't want to hear it, it's bad, but listen, it's the only way you're going to be able to grow. And then go and give them that feedback and say, I heard you, I understand, thank you for being honest and open with me, and this is what I'm going to do moving forward. Like, always have a follow-up. And then, like I said, act on feedback, demonstrate commitment to the employee satisfaction. They want to be heard. They want to know that they can bring things to you. You will help them take care of it and support them in whatever they need so they can be amazing in your company.
Yeah, and just off of what you're talking about, a lot of times we'll do surveys of our staff and or our families too. But one thing is really important, which I think Aleta is really leaning towards about the employee feedback, is not only the feedback from them, but is also that once you hear from people, it's really important that you make those things actionable. That you
Yes.
start saying, okay, this is what we heard and this is what we're going to act on. Because if not, your future surveys are going to go right out the window.
Nothing.
And you're
Yep.
not going to get anything from them.
Nothing. Yes.
So, Aleta, tell us a little bit just about, because we are winding up. We have only a few minutes left.
Yeah.
This has been wonderful. And if anybody has any other questions for Aleta, that'd be great. We'd love to get it in front of her. But tell us just a little bit of how you engage with people.
Yeah, so you can email me directly at aleta@theteachersfortomorrow.com, or you can text me. I'm open to that. I have a lot of opportunities for people to work with me right now. And, you can go onto my website, you can email me, and then we'll book a call and we'll see what you need, what I can do to help you move forward.
Awesome. And so I'll ask Sarah to drop those into the chat also, because it's sometimes easier just to click on the chat instead of trying to read it off of here. But also, if you just put in her name into the search engine, I know that she's out there. Someone asked if they'll get a copy of the slideshow, and we do a replay of this for everybody. So what that means is we so much don't send out the slideshow itself, but we could if Aleta is comfortable with that. But what we will do is this has been recorded. This will be republished. You'll be able to find it living on our website pretty much forever. And so if you want to go through it and just explore some of the content that Aleta had at your pace, please feel free to do so. So it's great opportunity. So thank you very much for that question. And Aleta, I want to thank you so much for spending some time with us today with your insights on leadership. I think it resonates so very well with our audiences. I do want to make sure I've got a few little end housekeepings here. So I do want to say thank you so much, Aleta, and you don't have to stay on if you don't want to watch all this fun stuff. But we do provide, continuing education units. As we mentioned up front, we have over 200 plus hours of professional development, learning paths. We've just implemented a new program on enrollment and how to drive your enrollments basically through the roof, how to start with marketing plans, how then to drive families in for tours, how then to go from tours to converting them to enrollments, and then how to delight them. That is a new course that we've developed specifically for administrators, if there's an interest on that. And if you are a decision maker in childcare and you're interested in learning more about Inspire Care 360, we are offering for you to go through a tour of what we bring to the table with our university, with our healthcare solutions, along with the other elements of our star rating, our group purchasing, and a few other things that we bring to the table. We will actually give you a $30 gift card for that time. Your time is valuable, and we want to make sure you realize that too. So if you reach out to Danielle and say, hey, Danielle, and we'll put her email in the chat. I'll have Danielle put her email in the chat. And if you reach out to her and just say, hey, I would love to get a tour, I saw the $30 gift card, we would be more than happy to do that for you. We will be having on the 29th our next executive pop-up and webinar, and this is creating a culture of accountability. So really a tag on to what Aleta was talking about. This is with Brett Neller. He is the CEO of Line Leader. So if you remember Childcare CRM or Moment Path, they came together to become Line Leader. Brett is a great guy. I've worked with him often. They do have a childcare management system, but he has some really good insight, subject matter expertise on creating a culture of accountability. He's had to do it himself with his own companies. So please look to have the sign up and registering for the 29th at 1:30. So that's in about 2 weeks. And we want to thank everybody who has attended. We want to thank you greatly. If you, again, would want a tour, we've put something in the chat for you, but here's some of the information. You can either shoot the QR code, you can go to our website, so forth and so on. This is Tony D'Agostino. I'm the founder and CEO of Inspire Care 360. We are very happy to have Aleta Mechtel on today, and we are looking forward to having Brett, but we're very happy to have Hugh here, and especially for those who return time and again. Thank you so much. We obviously couldn't do this without you. So we're very proud to bring these events to you, and don't hesitate to say to us what you would like in the future, because we would love to facilitate that. So I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and I wish you the very best. Take care now.